take for granted that I've been given the position to share my views. So I'd like to thank all those involved in allowing me this opportunity. When you asked me the question, someone instantly came to mind, and I'd like to share the story of a woman that I've been following and admiring since the beginning of the pandemic. And although there have been many leaders throughout the pandemic, this is someone that has really stood out to me. And this person is Dr. Glenda Gray. So Dr. Gray is a South African physician, scientist, and activist who specializes in childcare and HIV medicine. She became the first female president of the South African Medical Research Council. She was recognized as 100 most top influential people by Time magazine, and she was listed amongst Africa's 50 most powerful women by Forbes magazine. And on top of this, Dr. Gray is also involved in the VITS COVID-19 vaccine trials. She not only coordinates the trials, but she courageously injected herself with the vaccine to show the participants that it's safe and that it won't harm them. Recently, Dr. Gray was asked to be part of the Medical Advisory Committee, which was a committee consisting of doctors, academics, and scientists appointed to advise government in the decision-making around COVID-19. And the group gave the government advice and guidance on how to manage the pandemic, the lockdown, and the different levels. However, government chose not to follow some of their recommendations, and Dr. Gray found it outrageous and unjustified that government created rules and regulations that were not based on scientific findings. And so Dr. Gray chose to speak to the media, such as 702 and News 24, and she went public with her views. She spoke out against government and explained to the public how government regulations had no scientific foundation. And government didn't like the fact that Gray exposed their regulations, and they wanted her to stop, however she didn't. So they issued a public statement condemning her actions and denying her findings. And Health Minister Zweli Mkhize said that she had made factually incorrect and unfounded statements, and she undermined the work and effort of government. And this all had a massive impact on Gray in many different areas. She was called into a disciplinary hearing at work. She was emotionally attacked and ridiculed, and her scientific knowledge and accuracy came into question. But once the government had sent out their statement, more than 250 academics, such as Adam Habib, the current Vice Chancellor at WITS, signed a petition supporting Gray and defending her and saying that she had free speech, and especially such as a highly esteemed scientist. So the reason I chose Dr. Gray as my example is because she displays all of the leadership qualities required. She chose not to be silenced in order to speak her truth, and she knew the consequences, but chose to stand up for what she believed in. On a political front, she spoke out against government, which is a highly authoritative figure, in order to inform the public of the truth. In a scientific light, she used her knowledge and ability and talent to benefit others. And lastly, in a humanitarian view, when Gray was questioned why she spoke out, she said she did it to show young girls that they should never be silenced and they should always speak up for what they believe in. And although it was hard and took a toll on her emotionally, she felt she would do a disservice as a leader in South Africa, and more especially as a woman, to stay silent. And she wanted to portray the right message to the female youth of South Africa. And Dr. Gray is a perfect example of a leader that shows rather than tells, and more importantly, is a female role model to many around her. And that's why I think she's the perfect example of a leader during COVID-19.